back from the desk of Low. I have with me somebody on the phone who I grew up listening to, and as I found him through Fort Minor, I actually went back and dug deeper and deeper, and then his history goes on throughout a lot of hip-hop. He collaborated with one of my favorite artists, Bishop Lamont. He's got a long history within this hip-hop game. But without further introductions, I have Ryu of Styles of Beyond.
What up, Canada? It's my second home.
I was going to say, we got legal weed out here, too.
Huh?
We got legal weed out here, too.
I know, I heard. I spent a lot of time in the beginning of my career in Canada, actually. Like, the first show I ever did outside of LA was in London, Ontario.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep. So back when we first started out, we were friends with the group Len. Are you familiar with them?
No, I'm not, sir. Can you say it one more time just in case?
Len, L-E-N.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Sunshine. Yeah, so we were friends with them. We still are friends with them. And they brought us out for our first show back in the days with my man Governor Bolts. And, we rocked it out there. So, yeah, we spent a lot of time in Canada.
I was curious, too, on when you first found your passion for music, were you?
Oh, man. You're going to make me go back. You know what? I think I can pinpoint it to the very first time I heard Big Daddy Kane, or I saw Big Daddy Kane perform at Showtime at the Apollo, which is, for people that don't know, is a TV show out here that takes place at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. And I saw Big Daddy Kane perform live. And right then and there, I was like, wow, like I was blown away. I thought that was something that I wanted to do. But at the time, it was kind of a far-fetched idea because there wasn't any white rappers at all back then, so it was a long shot, but it was something I was passionate about, and then here we are now. I think if I had to pinpoint an actual moment, that would have been it.
Wow, that's a pretty good influence, Big Daddy Kane right there. Wow, but it's like what you said though, like the idea of being a white rapper was so far-fetched back then.
Mhm. Yeah, there really wasn't anybody except for the Beastie Boys, really.
Maybe like Third Base, that's about it. But they were like 91.
Yeah, Surge, like Third Base, like things like that. But it wasn't really a common thing back then, and especially like where I grew up in like Long Beach, California, that area, Cerritos. There wasn't. If you had to really fight your way in to like be a white rapper because you were gonna get it from everybody at every angle. So you had to be good, which I wasn't good, but I earned my stripes.
I was gonna say you consider yourself wasn't good. Wow, I consider you one of the best. Wow, geez, but everyone has to own their own skills, though.
Well, and everybody's got to start somewhere, and I wasn't always good. And you can always be better. I still look at other rappers and I'm just like, holy shit! Like, how do they do that? Like when I hear like Royce the 5'9" rap or something, I'm like, this guy's like absolutely off the charts, incredible.
Yeah, he alien right there.
Hmm?
He's an alien right there. No human can put the way he rhymes. Jeez.
No, I know. I mean, that guy's off the charts. But I mean, you also can't compare yourself to what other people do either. So like Royce does what he does, but he doesn't do what I do. Everybody's got their own thing to it, Like Old Dirty Bastard wasn't the best MC in Wu-Tang Clan, but he was probably the most popular, arguably.
Yeah, that's a fact right there.
So, yeah, so a lot of things come into it when you're talking about being an MC and being an entertainer. It's not always all about what you're saying. It's how you say it, and, your style and all that kind of stuff all plays into it to make the perfect package. Some people can rap their ass off, but they don't have anything else going for them. Or they can't compose a good song. I've seen that happen a lot of times too. A lot of times the battle rappers can battle like all day, but they can't make a good song.
Yeah. It's
and on the other end of the spectrum, a lot of us that make good songs can't battle rap.
Yeah, that's true. When you were actually getting like the courage to like make your own songs too, I was curious, was that in 1994 on those 4-track cassette recorders in Mike Shauna's bedroom?
No, that actually wasn't the first time I recorded. Like, the first time I ever recorded was at my man Redeem who was our tour manager at the time, he had a cousin who had a studio set up in Inglewood, and we recorded a little demo there. We started doing radio drops, is what we started doing, like little songs for the radio.
Yeah.
For the hip hop shows, like we started doing that, and that's how we got noticed. And then later on, I ended up moving, and I moved over next to Mike Shinoda, like around the corner from him. And then he had a little 4-track in his bedroom, and I used to go over there and record demos with him. This is prior to Linkin Park, prior to Styles Beyond, and everything.
Oh yeah, this was 1994. If I got my facts straight.
Yeah, but I was rapping prior to 1994.
Okay, yeah.
Like I mean, I was always kind of rapping, like probably since 1990, 91, and then I never took it seriously. It's just something that everybody did in my neighborhood, whether you were good or bad. Like everybody just freestyled and drank at night, and you know, that's what we used to do.
Did you?
And so, you know, once but I think once I got with Shinoda, things started getting a little more serious, even though we didn't have any record deals or anything like that. It's just, you know, he kind of had the equipment. So I never had my own equipment, and he was always like a smart guy. He could put a song together and stuff like that. And I didn't know anybody like that at the time, so yeah, it was cool.
Did you always go by Ryu?
Well, the funny thing is, my actual rap name was Tiger Chan.
Oh, really?
And,
I've never seen that.
It was Tiger Chan, but my real name is Ryan. So the reason why people call me Ryu is because I was heavily into martial arts when I was young. Like I used to be an instructor, you know, Shotokan karate and stuff like that. So like I was always in the dojo, and then my friends would come pick me up, and I'd still be in my karate uniform and stuff, and we would go around the side of the karate dojo, and we would like rap next to the car and stuff like that. You know, smoke cigarettes and weed and, you know, things like that. And so I was calling myself Tiger Chan, but everybody else was calling me Ryu because from the Street Fighter video game, I would be rapping while I was wearing my karate uniform. So because that video game was popular at the time, they started calling me Ryu because my name was Ryan. So, you know, that ended up just sticking. Everybody called me that. But still, like, to this day, people that know me best, like Top from Styles Beyond, 007, like, a bunch of people from way back, they all call me Chan. Like, they won't call me Ryu. They all call me Chan.
Because they know you from way back then, though. But that's a good memory of from where you came from, though.
Yeah.
So when you were, like, actually, like, taking martial arts, too, do you still do that to this day, or was that something, like, way back then?
That's way back. That's when I was, like, 16, 17 years old. I do have friends that are still into it a lot, and they try to get me to do it. I spent so many years doing that, I just don't want to anymore. I'm just too out of shape.
Well, at least you're keeping a buck. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would do it, but I just got too many other interests right now. It's a good thing. Like, maybe someday, maybe I'll do it. You know.
People must, like, kind of find you in the most weirdest ways. I was curious, too, because you're a part, like, of a lot of collectives, too. Styles Beyond, Demigodz, the Get Busy Committee, and your work on Fort Minor. So I was curious on, like, you get a lot of different fans tell you, like, how they found you through different styles?
Do they tell me how to sound?
No, like, do they find you, like, on, like, different sounds? Like, oh, I found you on Demigodz, or I found you on Fort Minor, or I know you from Fort Minor. I mean, sorry, Styles Beyond.
Oh, yeah. That happens all the time. Like, you know, people just like you, they'll know me from Fort Minor, and then they go back and see the other things that I do. And there's some people that don't like Fort Minor at all, that they just love Get Busy Committee, or they don't like Styles Beyond, or they love Styles Beyond and don't like this. So, you know, that's just the way that goes.
And
Fort Minor would be the most popular thing, but like to some people, it's not the best thing that I've done. You know.
Yeah, well, I was curious too. Like when you're coming up, because like that album got like a lot of critically acclaim, and Styles Beyond is really all over that. I love 2000 Fold, and I was curious if you can take me back to on how Styles Beyond formed, sir.
All right. Well, so when I moved out to what's called the Valley, it's a part of LA. I didn't really know too many people, and so I just enrolled in electronic music class at LA City College. College called Pierce. And so in that class, I met my partner, Talk. He was in that class, too. And as you do when you're, like, young and restless, like, you just, you know, we'd go out to the car, put some tapes and some cassettes in the deck, and we just start rapping and freestyling. It was me, Talk, and my other friend, Gravity Christ. Like, we would just sit there and freestyle. So when I met Talk already, he was a phenomenal rapper already when I first met him. Like, he was way better than I was. And his brother, Bilal, was a huge producer. Like, he produced for a lot of different groups, NWA and Ice-T and all this kind of stuff. And he was a good DJ. So they had a full-on studio in the garage of their house. And in their house lived Divine Styler, who ended up, like, Divine Styler is a legend on his own. But he ended up becoming our producer, my producer and stuff. And also Everlast from House of Pain lived there at Talk's house. And so what we started doing is me and Talk would steal instrumental tapes out of the studio. And some of these beats were like mug beats, like real big producers. You know, we were just taking the beats and recording them over a 4-track over at my man D Minor's house. And the tape made it back to Talk's brother Bilal, and he was like, you guys need to form a group because you guys sound great together. And then he already had all the backing from all the legendary people that he was surrounded with, and we said, okay, cool, let's do a group. And, you know, Chief Shot and Talk were already Styles of Beyond before. Our DJ's name was Chief Shot, and he was also the DJ for Fort Minor. Him and Talk were Styles of Beyond before I got into it, and then they asked me to be in Styles of Beyond, and then that's how that happened.
Oh, wow. So, you see, I love when artists do interviews about that because it gives more appreciation for, like, the work that you guys did put out. Like, you guys, I consider that probably one of the underground classics to this day is 2000 Fold. What's the meaning behind that title, too, and the cover, too? Because the cover art is very different from what you was opposed to, like, seeing back then.
Well, so that kind of came from... I was never big on, like, doing the artwork and the titles, and we didn't know how to do it. So, like I was saying before, Divine Styler, he was our mentor through this whole deal. Divine was always into, like, artwork, and he was the first one with, like, a Mac computer with, like, all the computer programs and stuff. So he just started messing around with shapes and stuff, and he called it 2000 Fold. It's like 4,000. Like, it's like way beyond everything else. So, you know, it was one of those real casual decisions. I was like, all right, sounds good to me, whatever. You know, it wasn't even really like something that I thought out. Divine came up with it. And then also, Mike Shinoda designed our logo. If you ever seen the SOB logo on the 2000 Fold record, Mike Shinoda designed that.
Okay. I was going to say, too.
And also, Joe Hahn from Linkin Park did the photo shoot for us in the inserts. When you open up the album, Joe Hahn did all the photography.
And for the people listening too, back then, real art had booklets that you can actually open and look in and see who produced what, and actually see like the cool photo shoots they actually done.
Yep, we had posters and the whole deal. And so Mike and Joe Hahn, they went to Pasadena College. They were all into art and stuff like that, which they still are, you know. But back then, they were really good artists, so they helped us out with that. I gave Mike basically like the Ohm symbol, and he took the Ohm symbol and twisted it up to make it say SOB.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that kind of reminds me of a certain symbol. I just couldn't figure out what it was.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The reason why I love the 2000 Fold album is like the samples that you guys were using too. My most favorite track by y'all is Dangerous Minds with that Mobb Deep sample. Oh my god.
Oh, Dangerous Minds. Yeah, that's all producer Vince Scully. He was responsible for most of 2000 Fold. And he was just a wizard with the samples. So we had a really good team around us on that record. We had Divine Styler and Vince Scully and Bilal. So, yeah, we were cooking on that record. And that was basically like, that record was like a demo for us. That was like the first time we went professionally in a studio and like rapped. And so when that record was about to come out, like I thought it sucked. People are not going to like this at all, you know. So I was like I was more like nervous when it came out. I wasn't even like excited.
Oh,
But,
really?
you know, and
Yeah.
I didn't even know people liked it until like years later.
Yeah, because like I bet you, because like a lot of people, they must, like I said, they must find you through different ways. Because like you guys have songs like that I was playing when I was a kid, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I used to play the shit out of that game, and not knowing like a few years when I went back, I'm like, yo, there's Styles of Beyond's records in this too.
Yeah, that actually was a big boost for us. Like, actually, the skating community embraced us really well, and that's why we were in that video game, because the skating community were already onto us in LA, and so they used to play our songs when they were doing their skate videos and stuff like that. So that was a good look for us at the time when we got on that Tony Hawk video game.
I was gonna say, how much time did you play that game? So, oh, you weren't big on video games back then.
Oh, I was. I played that game all day, every day. Like when that came, especially because like they gave it to us for free, and like we got it before everybody else did. And that game was like the best when it came out.
Yeah, it was. It probably still is a skateboarding game out there.
Yeah.
Was that for the unreleased album that you guys had planned called Terraform, and you guys just put it on Tony Hawk?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What had happened was so after we did 2000 Fold, we ended up getting a record deal with the Dust Brothers, who produced the Beastie Boys, and so we got on their record label and re-released 2000 Fold. So a lot of people don't know there's two different versions of 2000 Fold. The first version of 2000 Fold that we put out has, I think, 2 extra songs on it, and the one that we put out with the Dust Brothers had to get rid of those songs because we couldn't clear the samples on them. So, you know, we had a song with DJ Revolution that was on the first record that isn't on the second one. So if you find the one with DJ Revolution on it, keep that one because it's worth money. And then after that, the Dust Brothers like record label kind of dissolved, and then they moved us over to like Hollywood Records or something like that, and we didn't want to be there because there was no hip hop on that label really at that time. It was a bunch of little pop acts. So, you know, we were kind of in limbo trying to get out of that contract, and we were working on Terraform at the same time. And then we just got swept up in label nonsense, and we ended up doing like a bunch of songs, you know, for Terraform. I don't even know what happened to them all. Hopefully Divine has them somewhere.
Oh yeah, you know somebody's got to hold on to all the history that you guys done just in case.
Say again, sorry?
You know, somebody always has to hold on to certain demos and stuff like that, because you just never know who might hold on to something.
Oh man, we used to you know, record on DAT cassettes.
Oh wow.
And so like we had boxes and boxes of DATs that Vince Scully used to put on the side of his house in boxes, and then it got rained on like crazy, and we lost like boxes of like just DATs of old songs and shit.
I'm gonna say there was probably a lot of bugs on that too back then too. Woo.
There was all kinds of shit on there, like because I was actually trying to like scrape up a bunch of this stuff and put out like kind of like an unreleased B-sides type thing, because we got hundreds of songs, and then Vince Scully was looking for all the old stuff, and he said like unfortunately like most of our stuff got lost to like the side of his house got flooded or something. It's like the Wu-Tang story when his basement got flooded. We lost a lot of stuff.
We lost that Inspector Deck album. Oh my god, I could only kill to hear what that sounded like back then.
But I lost the Method Man album too. Method Man had all the good beats on his album, and then it got flooded, so they had to retool the whole thing, just give him whatever he had.
I mean, like now that you say that, now the Cow may sound like a whole totally different album back then too, before the flood.
Yeah, it totally did. But everybody always says like, you know, the original Method Man album that never came out, that was like a smash, but we'll never get to hear that, I guess.
yeah, unless somebody can like fix those tapes. I bet those tapes are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious too, because you said like there was a reissue for 2000 Fold. I was curious if you still have one of the original copies.
I probably do. Actually, I probably don't, because I give everything out, because I just like, I don't know, if people want it, I just give it to them. But so I never really saved anything for myself, but my mom saves everything. She has like a chest somewhere with like all kinds of stuff, because she knew I would just give it away. So she held on to a lot of stuff. So there's probably, I bet you if I went through my entire house, I could probably find an original copy somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, because I was always curious about that. Because like I love when I hear stories about albums getting reissued and there's like the original copy, like Internal Affairs. Like I consider like one of like those albums like an artifact because like it's so rare to find and you can never get that original thing again. It's like something you had to be there and in tune at that time.
Yeah, I actually still have the original vinyl test pressings of Fort Minor too.
Oh
Like
wow.
when they're straight from the plant, like the big thick records, so we could approve it. So I have those originals too.
I was curious if you're a big vinyl collector too, because I noticed vinyl's making a comeback lately.
You know what? Like I was, because I started off as a DJ because I never wanted to be like a front man guy because it's not really in my personality to be like that. But so I started off as a DJ and I collected vinyl for years and years. I still in my garage. I got just like Walmart tubs full of records and stuff. And then I started giving them away after a while, just to people that would use them because they're just sitting there in my garage. But I don't. My daughter does it now. Like, I'll go buy records for her, or she'll go buy records. So, but it's mostly like classic rock stuff. It's not. I got a lot of hip hop shit though, because I used to be on all those email. I used to be on the mailing list for all the promo vinyl and stuff. So I got a lot of good promo vinyl.
Yeah, some of those good promo vinyls had like B-sides we would never get to hear again.
Oh yeah, I have tons of them. I got tons of old Raucous stuff. I got the original 50 Cent record when that came out with the B-sides on it and stuff. Like the first single, the How to Rob single with the promo on it. I got tons of stuff.
I'm gonna say that rocket stuff you better hold on to. That's worth a lot of money now.
Yeah, I got tons of Raucous stuff. Because my manager used to like, I don't know, kind of work at Raucous or like intern there. He did something, so we used to get a lot of Raucous stuff.
I was curious on the very first time that Styles of Beyond ever went overseas.
First time we went overseas was with Fort Minor.
Oh, really?
I mean, that was the first time we crossed the ocean. Yeah. Our very first show overseas was like with Fort Minor in like Belgium or something like that.
They must have loved Styles of Beyond because they appreciate hip hop a lot more than they do in the States. I realized.
They do. Yeah, I was in Europe 2 weeks ago, and you just run into people. Like I went into a tattoo shop, and the guy there was like, "Oh shit," like he knew me from like the Demigodz. So he was like, "What the hell are you doing here?" This was in Ireland, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "I don't know, I'm on vacation." And so he ended up gave my wife a tattoo, gave my daughter a tattoo, and didn't charge me a damn thing. Shout out to my man Tony in Galway. Oh. Rise Tattoo, what up?
I was like, I would plug him in too if they gave me free tats.
Yeah. So yeah, it happens, but not too often. If you're just walking around in Europe, like nobody's looking at who you are, paying attention to anything. So, I mean, I guess if I was doing a show over there, it'd be a lot bigger. But I don't really do shows and stuff. I'm just doing my own business.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say you're a very humble individual, and then like when they hear your music, it's like, wow, this guy's killing it.
Well, yeah, I got two sides of me too. It's like when I get in that booth, I'm killer, but like I'm just a regular dad. Like when I'm not rapping.
Would you could say like it's like it brings out a different side in you?
It does, because I think everybody has different sides to them, and I just express that when I start writing music. And I think that's kind of the issue with me, because I internalize so much stuff, and then when I write, like everything comes out that I suppress, and so that's why it comes out the way it does. Like sometimes it comes out angry, or and sometimes it comes out happy. You never know. But I really think about it when I write stuff. That's why I don't put out records every day like a lot of people. Like I put out a solo record in late 2016, 2017 called Thanks for the Memories. And if you haven't heard that, go listen to that, because that's pure like Styles of Beyond stuff. It's got talk on it and all that. I brought back the old cast for that album.
I would say one of my most favorite tracks on there is Happy Days with Bishop Lamont and Gravity Christ.
Yep, that's a jam right there.
And I like how you said that too. Like sometimes it may come out angry, sometimes it may come out thoughtful too. Like There are very few artists that can like do that too and bring the emotion out that other people could feel too. So that's like, I wonder if like, has anybody else to tell you that too? Like that's a gift. Like nobody just like earns that. Like that's a gift.
You know what? Like, it's funny that you say that because that's how I think about it too. Like, I like the emotion in music, whether the emotion is angry or happy or sad. Like, if you listen to my music, especially the solo album, you can hear that through the album. But I don't think everybody appreciates that type of music because I think people just want like killer bars and like boom bap, testosterone fueled beats and like stuff like that, which is cool too sometimes. But like, there's no variation for a lot of these rappers. Like, so I like to switch it up. And when I make an album, I like to take you on a journey. You know, I like to build a story. I like to have, you know, peaks and valleys of emotions. So if you listen to my solo record, that's what you'll get out of that. You know, I've always kind of been like that. I always look for the emotion, even in the beat. If there's a certain key of the beat that I like because it brings out a certain emotion. And Mike could tell you more about that because he's over music theory and shit like that. So I'd always go like, I like these keys. I like these things. Like, there's a reason why you like these keys because they're sad. But if you play them, you know, if you play them on the high note, you know, it's happy. So I don't know. He used to get into all that kind of shit. But yeah, emotion kind of drives what I do more than anything, more than even lyrics or anything like that.
But that's what makes it timeless. That's what makes timeless art and a timeless artist.
Well, I'm glad you see that, man. That's good. You're pretty observant. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, keep it all the way above, because like man, I used to listen to like you guys on Fort Minor when I was a kid, man, and then like as I got older, I got to understand like how to get music, and when I found like 2000 Fold, and I ain't gonna front, when I seen the Megadeth cover, I was like, oh, I thought they were going rock, but when I heard that, I was like, okay, just the cover. You shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Right. Yeah, no, Megadeth, that was a whole different thing.
Did that really come with a DVD?
Hmm?
Did that really come with a DVD with the release?
No, I didn't come with a DVD.
Oh, okay. I read somewhere online that Megadeth was supposed to come that came with a DVD.
No, not that I know of.
Oh, okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure. That's why I love when artists do interviews. You can actually get the real facts behind it instead of just reading it online.
I mean, I could be wrong, too. I forget
stuff. Well, it was 2003, so we're in 2019, though, so that's understandable.
Right.
So, like you said, you're a part of a lot of groups, too. I was curious on how to Get Busy Committee formed, too.
Well, Get Busy Committee formed because of my relationship with Scoop DeVille. I'd known Scoop since he was 16 years old, and he was a great producer. You know, for his age, I never heard anybody make beats like that. He was on the Fort Minor mixtape too.
Yeah, We Major.
He produced a couple things on We Major, and so after kind of like Fort Minor wasn't doing anything anymore. You know, we were trying to get off of Warner Brothers because they weren't going to do nothing with us. Warner wasn't interested in whatever Styles Beyond was doing, so we were like, let's just get out of here. Apathy, the other guy, my partner in Get Busy Committee, he was getting out of his deal with Atlantic Records, and you know, we were kind of like rock bottom because we just came from like this big Fort Minor machine, you know, where everything was moving real great, and then they just put the brakes on it and it stopped, and we just didn't have anything to do anymore. So we were a little bit bitter and kind of confused on what we were going to do next. So me, Scoop, and Apathy basically just started hanging out in the studio and just going, let's just do whatever we want to do, because we tried to do things, you know, that the record label would like or whatever, and they didn't like anything we did. I don't think they had any intention of messing with us anyways, but long story short, we just started doing whatever we wanted to do, and it came out great, and everybody liked it. And then my manager took it to Shinoda, and he liked it, and Shinoda called me and said, don't give this to a record label, let's just put it out ourselves. So, like, basically everybody just put in money to like, help fund this record and put it out. And the first record, it did pretty well. Like, it took off, and then, you know, like, things happened and shit, and then we did a whole second record. Had we released our second record, it would have been a whole different story. That's another thing. We have a Get Busy Committee record that's never came out that is the hottest shit on the planet. The first one was just a warm up. And Get Busy Committee to me personally was the best thing I ever did. Like that was the best music I ever made. I think with Get Busy Committee.
Oh, I see. And
that's my personal favorite.
And I like how what you said too, like you were kind of confused and better, and then like when you guys come together to like just hang out in the studio to get a great reception off the records that you guys had fun making, that must have like gave you like a whole other energy right there. Just like, yeah, I'm gonna keep going.
Oh, it did. Like we were so we didn't give a shit about anything or anybody. We were just like our own unit, and you know we were just like, let's just do the most disgusting, grossest, nasty shit we can do, just to kind of get it out of our system, because we weren't even making any money in that in between time. Like there was no shows, like we weren't getting paid from nobody. So we were like, dude, what are we doing here? Like the least money we ever made was when we were on a record label. Let's just do it ourselves, because we came from doing it ourselves, and we did fine when we were by ourselves. And when we got trapped up in the record labels is when we started going broke. So we were like, let's just go back to what we do best,
Would you say that you guys were ahead of your time back then with the independence? Because a lot of people back then, they probably would think, we need a major to get out. But you guys were like, it's like what you said, there was a lot of independence in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Styles and Beyond, 2000 Fold, I think we were there at the exact right time for independent music, because that's when a lot of, like, first of all, the LA scene was really popular back then as far as underground music. You had, us, you had Dilated Peoples, you had Black Eyed Peas was doing their thing, and, it just, I could go on forever. Like, LA scene was known for just underground hip-hop. We would press our own vinyl, take our own vinyl to the record, to the radio stations, bring our own vinyl to the house parties, and everybody knew each other. And it was a good time for that. I think we were exactly on time for the underground thing. We sold a lot of records independently. Like upwards of 60,000, 70,000 copies, like independently.
Jesus, and that's independent too, so that's straight profits.
Yeah, it was moving. Like, and we did this shit out of our trunk, we had help. We had Tox Family, we had Bilal, his father Abdullah, we had Divine, we had everybody kind of backing us. But we pressed our own stickers, and we couldn't afford to get them cut, so we had to sit there with scissors all night. So me and Tox would cut our own stickers, and we just go on bombing missions. We put our stickers and posters all over the city, and we just did it ourselves, and it was fun. And the show money was good back then, and we were performing 3 times a week, and it was great. So that was a really good time. At that point, I thought that was as big as you can get. We were performing at all the biggest spots. We were doing shows with Eminem and stuff. Eminem would co-headline with us at the Whiskey and stuff like that. So that was big shit back then. But when Get Busy Committee came out, the independent game has already run its course, because the majors had already got their claws into the game, and they kind of ruined it.
Yeah.
So everybody was getting snatched up by labels and stuff, and it wasn't the same, because the radio stations weren't like it was before. Because when we came out with 2004, local radio stations can play Styles of Beyond, and at one point, say we have the 5th most requested song on the radio. Back then, the radio could play it. But then when Clear Channel came and bought up all the radio stations, every radio station in North America can only play the, same damn 10 songs. So it's hard to crack that market, unless you got a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's like what you said, too, back then they could actually play the records, like Spies Like Us or Easy Back It Up, and nowadays it's like what you said, it's the same damn 10 songs over and over. That's why I believe that there should be a change. That's why I love satellite radio, because there's still DJs that play what they own. There's a lot of stuff
right.
on on Shady 45 that the DJs, they be playing Group Home, Styles of Beyond, Eric B. Rakim, Black Moon. It's God, this is how the radio should sound diversely, not just the same damn pop thing over and over and over.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's what the LA scene back then, and basically, I mean, New York and every place, even Canada, the DJs were just playing what they wanted to play, you know, and that worked out good for us. So, like, Easy Back It Up was, like, you know, one of the most requested songs on the major radio station in LA. So we would get play out here. And also, all the DJs that worked at all the radio stations were underground hip-hop dudes anyways. So that's all they wanted to play. And then you can go up there and freestyle and stuff like that. Like, you can't even do none of that no more. And the Wake Up Show had a, you know, do you remember the Wake Up Show?
Yes, sir. Sway and Kintek. I understand that you guys were up there a lot.
Carmelita. Yeah, Sway Tech and Carmelita, like, they were really instrumental in the beginning of our career, too. Like, Carmelita would always get us up there. She, you know, and I was like a shy young kid. She'd be like, get on that mic and rap. You know, and so DJ Revolution was the DJ there, and he actually got us our first distribution deal because we were going up there just playing demos. And DJ Revolution came from behind the turntables, and he was like, what the hell is this? And we were like, I don't know, man. This is shit we recorded in the garage. And he's like, He's like, this just got to be put out. So he actually got our stuff. He got us a little distribution deal. We got our stuff all pressed up in vinyl and all that. And we did our first CD with Revolution through a company called Ground Level. And so, yeah, man, like, back then, I mean, just getting your shit played or just having an avenue to take your music to can make a hell of a difference. Now, people make the music, they just put it on SoundCloud and just pray for the best, you know? But I'm not willing to do that. That's why I don't push it out. I'm like, unless there's a reason, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, because you want your art to be looked at as art as opposed to just putting something out for the hell of it.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many artists that put out so many records because they're trying to compete, you know, in this new market where you have, like, if you don't drop a record, you know, twice a year, then people just forget about you and move on to the next, which I understand, but I'm just not willing to do that. Like, I'll make records when I feel like it, you know?
Yeah, and we live in a day and age, too, like, we can listen to whatever we want to listen to because, like, that's what I love about, like, actually having, like, streaming, and, like, I'll keep it a buck. I'll go to the old CD store, cop some vinyl, because I just love the way vinyl sounds. It just, like, I love how we have the complete freedom to listen to what we listen to. It just sucks that what's being played on the radio, it's just, like, it's garbage.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that, but also, you know, the universe has a way of balancing itself out. So, eventually, people are going to get sick of them same 10 songs. They're going to get sick of those artists, and everything, you know, it goes in cycles. And I'm just waiting for the day, I don't know, maybe 2021, maybe like 2031, when Styles Beyond is back in fashion. And people want us to perform at the Grammys and shit.
I was going to say, this is a perfect time for y'all to come back. The underground movement's at an all-time high right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is. Like, hopefully, maybe one of these days we can get it together.
So for the people that are curious out there, too, you guys' latest release, too, you guys are still together after that latest release, too. For 2012, Reseda Beach?
Reseda Beach, yeah. Beach. We're all together.
Okay. So, yeah, because a lot of groups, they may be like, okay, we put out this last record, and now we're going to go do our own solo thing. So I was just curious if you guys were actually still a group.
Yeah, I mean, we're still a group. I mean, I wouldn't call us like an active group right now, but we're all still friends, and we all see each other, and we still talk and everything, and you know, there's just we would do an album. I don't think but that's what I tried to do with my solo record. I really tried to, like, you know, put talk on the record and put all the Styles Beyond pieces on my album to kind of gauge the you know, the temperature to see if it's the right time to put out a Styles Beyond record. Because initially what I wanted to do was I wanted to go my solo record and then come back with a Styles Beyond record. But Talk lives in China now, so it's like I don't ever really see him because he's always in China.
Oh, wow. Geez.
So, yeah, it's hard to do, and I don't like doing shit through email and stuff like that because everybody knows, like, I record everything in my kitchen, in my house, and so everybody comes to my kitchen. And that's just the way, I don't know, we got good luck in my kitchen, so everybody comes through there.
Like, it's chemistry, too. Like, you all have the energy in the room as opposed to just getting a verse over email.
Say it again, sorry?
Like, you're big on energy as opposed to just, like, getting a verse from an email. Like, you want the energy in the room.
Absolutely. Like when you hear, the song Happy Days with Bishop, every single person on that song recorded it in my kitchen. And, that's just what it is. People come over to my house, we put a bottle of Jameson on the table, and we just get to work. And it's also like whoever's in the house at the time can get on the record if they got something to contribute. There was some girl over at my house that, like, I didn't even know. Like, my man brought this girl over. I think she was Canadian. And she was like, she could sing or whatever. I said, get on the mic then. I need some background vocals. And she just did it,
Like, no fear. So I was curious, too. Is that why Tanks for Memories came out? Or, like, what really, like, inspired you to put a solo record out, too? Because I bet you a lot of people were asking for that, too.
Well, I mean, a lot of my peers and my friends would ask me to do it. For years they've been asking me to do a solo record, and I was always just too busy with other stuff, like whether it be Fort Minor, and I guess I could have like done that. I probably should have done it because the timing would have been better off. If I ever released a solo record during like the Fort Minor time, I probably would have done a hell of a lot better. But you release it when it's time to release it. So it's just something I always wanted to do, but it always seemed like such like a tall mountain that I wasn't willing to climb. It seemed like a lot of work, and because I'm in groups, I'm always used to like being on songs with other people, so it was really easy to knock out a verse or get a verse and a chorus or something. So doing it all on your own, like there's a lot of, I guess I was kind of scared or whatever, like, oh man, I don't know if I could do this on my own, but once I knocked out the first like couple tracks, I was like, oh shit, here we go. And then I loved it. I was like, this is fun. So now I know I can do a solo record whenever I want. And I actually enjoyed doing it. It was a great process. So I'm not worried. You gotta do it to know if you like it or not. And I liked it. So I don't know. Maybe I'll do another one. But I'm real specific on shit that I do, man. Like, I mean, if the right producer came along, and also I like my solo record was produced all by Divine Styler. Like, I like everything to be consistent.
Oh, wow.
With the exception of one track, the very ending song was produced by Apathy, but that was a song I did a long time ago, and then I just tacked it on to the end of the album because people liked it. But, yeah, I mean, if I could do... I mean, shit, if Madlib came along and was like, yo, I want to do a whole album with you? Okay, fine, let's go.
That would be fire right there. Whew.
I think so. Like, Madlib's one of my favorite producers of all time, so... things like that, if they line up correctly, then maybe I'd do it. But I don't go looking for that shit either. I don't knock on people's doors and call people and be like, hey, give me a beat. I don't do shit like that. So, because I'm just kind of fine, like, where I'm at. Like, I just travel and chill and drink my beer and sit in the sun, man. Like, life's pretty good for me. I don't really care. But I like rapping too, but it has to be right. I'm pretty particular about what I like to do,
Yeah, like it's like what you said too, like you're very particular on what you put out because you don't want to force anything, and plus, like, when you don't force stuff too, it comes out so much better.
Well, I make a lot of enemies too because a lot of people want me to like do a verse on their song or something.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, this song's completely off. Like, this song has no emotion in it whatsoever. Like, this is like, I can't do it. I physically can't do it. Like, and people would think I'm just being a dick. I'm like, no, I'm just telling you, I can't do it. It's not for me. It has to be the way that I like it, or I can't do it.
And that's rare to find because, like, most people, like, when they would like get something like, yo, I want to pay you for a verse, they'd be like, okay, money. But, like, I like how you said too, like, you gotta feel it for you to able to be to be a part of it.
Mhm. And it's a fact that I've never sold a verse ever.
Oh wow, you're a very generous guy. Wow.
No, I've never sold them. Like people hit me up all the time. Like, how much you charge for a verse? I don't charge anything because I'm just not doing it. Like, I mean, the only people I do verses for is for friends.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, people that hey, hold on, my dog's barking.
Oh yeah, all good.
Get up. So yeah, I like my close friends. Like, I do the verses for, because we all got a vibe. Like they know what I like. So they won't even come to me without something that they don't think I'd be perfect on, But like an average person that I don't know, I get this all the time. Like, Ryu, you got to hear these beats. Like, they're right up your alley. I made them specifically for you. and I'll check the beats out, and I'll be like, this is so way off. This isn't even close to what I like.
It's like, this is not what's for me, man.
No, not at all. It's not even close. So, you know, it's tough, man. Like, sometimes I feel like I just want to tell people I retired, so that way they won't ask me for verses no more.
Wow. But I understand too. It's just like, it must get tiring after a while. It's like verse. It's like, hey, just why don't you guys just relax and enjoy some of the stuff I put out already?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like not a lot of people even know that I put out a solo record. Like, Thanks for the Memories kind of like was under the radar. It did pretty good, but you know, still a lot of people like are finding the record like now, going like, I didn't know you put out a solo record. So, but that was me just putting the record out myself. I don't, you know, I'm not like an industry powerhouse. I just put the records out myself. Me and Self-Titled, we did it through Demigodz Records.
Why the name Thanks for the Memories? Is that like a play on for like Thanks for the Memories?
Yeah, it's like taking all your memories and blowing them up. You know,
Okay.
it's like if you pointed a tank gun turret at all your memories and just blew them up, like starting over. You know.
Yeah, because I say that once I heard you and Bishop on Un-American, I was like, wow, these guys are crazy chemistry together too. That's why I love when y'all collab together too. I was curious on the very first time you ever met Bishop Lamont.
First time I ever met Bishop was we had did a song. Okay, so my manager Chris Barnett at the time, he was friends with Bishop already, and I was a fan of Bishop, and Bishop was a fan of mine. So, because Bishop's knowledge of underground hip hop is off the charts. Like,
oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's a hip hop nerd, and so I liked him too. Like I thought his stuff was great, and so we were doing the mixtape. What the name of that damn mixtape? Razor Tag. We were doing a Razor Tag mixtape, and we did a song called "Save in L.A." And my manager asked Bishop to come to the studio, and he did. And Bishop was just such a great guy. Like, we just hit it off. Just like such a nice, humble dude. And he really knows his shit, and he's just a phenomenal rapper. So, like, since that day, we've just been friends ever since. And then, you know, I put him on this TV show that we did with Rob Dyrdek, the Fantasy Factory. Me and Bishop did an episode of Fantasy Factory a while ago, and then we just been rolling ever since, dude. Like, anytime he needs me for anything, I got him. Anytime I need something from him, he's got me. So.
I like how you said too, you guys were fans of each other too, and then you guys got to work together after all these years. Like, that's crazy. And for the people listening, that Razor Tag mixtape is by DJ Green Lantern, so you know that's fire off the start.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Like, I only work with really like people that are friends of mine, and we get each other. You know, we have the same chemistry, and you know, and Bishop actually pushes me too, which is funny because Bishop will always be like, "No, come on, rap, do this, do that." And I'm like, "I can't, I don't want to." He'll be like, "You can do it, you can do it." He always pushes me to like go farther, even on like Un-American. He was like, "Say whatever you want, spaz out on this shit." So I rewrote that verse like 2-3 times, and I would send him the verse, and then he would go, "Oh yeah, that's good, man, I love it." And then I'd like, "I don't know, man, I don't know if I like it." He'd be like, "Do it again, then." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna do it again." And then I do it again, and then I do it again, and then I'm like, "All right, that's enough." And he's like, "See, now you're gonna have 2 verses on this song because I like them both." so and that song, that's the reason why I have 2 verses, and he has 1. Because I kept rewriting it, and every time I rewrite it, he just like go, keep going.
He's like, I can't like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, he just wanted to keep me doing verses.
So coming up in the underground hip hop scene, I was curious on like what was it like, just like days off, like off the studio and stuff like that, like just relaxing in LA, like because you said the skateboarding committee really embraced you all. I was curious, like, did y'all ever get into like skateboarding or things like that in your spare time?
Well, I mean, yeah, I was into BMX a lot.
Okay.
BMX is also like, you know, a Southern California thing. So BMX, surfing, skating, it's all kind of intertwined. So everybody kind of did all of it. But I wasn't the best skateboarder. Obviously, I did skateboard a little bit, but I wasn't that good. But BMX was my thing. I still collect BMX bikes to this day, like vintage BMX bikes, and I fix them up and restore them and stuff. That's kind of a little side hobby that I do. Like I really like the nostalgia of old like LA, specifically the Valley where we're from. Like it's like the epicenter for all that shit, skating and BMX. So. Yeah, like back in the days, shit, we used to have a friend that used to have a full half-pipe skate ramp in his backyard, and we just sit over there and drink. We drink and watch people skate, and we perform on the skate ramp sometimes. We just have a house party, and we would just put the microphones up there, and me and Talk would stand on the skate ramp and perform while everybody would stand at the bottom. And, you know, we used to go to this place called Scotland Yard all the time. We throw that in songs too. You'll hear Scotland Yard like on the 2000 Fold. Scotland Yard, this little pub that we used to go to every single day. We went there for 15 years, and that's what we used to do, man. Like, I mean, we were a pretty wild bunch when we were young, dude. Like, that's all we used to do is just drink and fucking cause havoc.
But like, you live and you learn though, like, 'cause everyone's young once, so at least you might as well live it to the fullest when you're young.
Yeah, we definitely did that. I mean, people could not put up with us at times, dude. Like we were like the motley crew of like underground hip hop at a certain point. My Canadian friends can vouch for that. They made me an honorary Canadian just by how much alcohol we can consume.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we do love to drink. I'm not a big drinker. I'm more of a smoker.
Right. Well, yeah, we do that too.
Yo, yeah, trust me. I know LA got some of the finest out there.
Yeah, we've been like medically legal for 20-something years. So like, weed has never been like, you'd never get arrested for weed even before it was legalized.
Really?
No, I've never heard anybody.
No, I just learned that now.
Yeah, no, I never heard of anybody getting arrested for weed unless you like have like pounds on you or something. But I mean, people will always like freely just smoke in shows or, you know, patios. Like when you're at the show, you go to the patio, the whole place smell like weed. Like that's just a common thing. Like out here, it's been like that for as far as I can remember. We get pulled over by the cops with like weed, and they wouldn't do anything. At the most they would do is say like throw it out. You know, we have to throw it out of the car, but you know, it was never a big deal.
I'm like, yeah, we're gonna throw it out, officer. Wink, wink.
Huh?
I would have been like, yeah, we're gonna throw it out, officer. Wink, wink.
Yeah, right.
Because like this is what I love about like you obviously are like you're a big Wu-Tang fan because you're underground hip hop, you know, Wu-Tang. Did you ever you know how Ghostface was heavily featured on Only Built for Cuban Links?
Yeah.
That's what I kind of viewed as Rising Tide, as like one of those albums where there was artists heavily featured on there, but they weren't they were credited on the album, but it was just still a solo record. I consider that Rising Tide album like up there with Only Built for Cuban Links too, because you guys are all over that record too, and I was curious on like how did Shinoda approach you guys to like get all over that, or was it kind of like naturally like you were saying too, like because it's for your friends, so it's obviously it's going to be a good vibe either way.
Well, it was kind of natural because, you know, we were friends like prior to that album, and then you know, he kind of just approached us and said, "I'm working on a couple of songs. Do you guys want to jump on them?" And we said, "Yeah, all right." So he gave us 2 songs to work on. Me and Talk put our verses on them, and then, you know, we gave them to him, and he liked them. Those 2 songs, I don't think they didn't make it on the Rising Tides. We just did them just for the hell of it. And then he came back to us, and you know, he was like, I got an idea. And he was like, I want to do this record. He's like, but it's not necessarily a solo record. You know, I want you guys to be on it. I want you guys to be part of it. I want you, you know, to you know, be on pretty much all aspects of it. I mean, we did everything from being on the records to touring, and then when we, you know, he was setting up excuse me, I'm trying to like remember and shit, like everything specifically so I don't get it wrong. But from my recollection, it was like so they had Machine Shop Records at the time.
Yes, sir.
And they were looking to like sign some hip hop acts, and naturally he came to us because of our history together. And we were interested, and he was interested in fucking with us. And so at that time, it was like, yeah, he was trying to like sign us to the label, and he was bringing us to the Linkin Park guys for approval, and then he wanted to get us a publishing deal. So then he like flew us up to New York to meet with the publishing company. But then he gave us both like 8 tracks for the Rising Tide. And he said, like, write these on the airplane, and then when you get back, we're going to record them. And that's exactly what we did. We just, like, wrote our asses off on the plane, and then got off the plane and kept writing, and then we went right into the studio, laid down, like, eight or 9 tracks. And then that was done, and then we did the whole mixtape, and so we just kept on writing and writing. And then, that turned into a record deal for Styles of Beyond with Warner Brothers. So it was that. It was a strange time. Like, it happened, like, really quick,
Yeah, because, well, that must be, like, a good feeling knowing that you guys went to recording in his bedroom to working on a project executive produced by Jay-Z.
Yeah, but we kind of didn't know that at the time. Like, when you're doing stuff as friends, you don't look at it as, like, Mike from Linkin Park or anything like that. You're just doing demos and shit.
Yeah,
and then
like
next thing you know,
the vibe.
Next thing you know, Jay-Z's involved, and then it's like, oh shit, So, yeah, I mean, but we all came up together at the exact same time. I mean, I'm telling you, like, we'd be playing at the Rocks, we'd be playing at the Whiskey A Go Go on Sunset Boulevard, and Linkin Park would be playing at the Roxy on Sunset Boulevard, which is like, I don't know, like a quarter mile, like not even a quarter mile away. Like we just like go to each other's shows at night. Like we'd get done with our set and go run up there and watch them up the street. Like we all kind of came up together. So
and it makes it even better. And it makes it even better that y'all are fans of each other's music too.
Yeah, I mean it does. It makes it better, but it makes it complicated at the same time because once you start mixing business with business at that level with friendship, like it gets complicated, and that's a tightrope you gotta walk when you do business with friends,
Yeah, because you never know how it can turn out in the long run. Right,
because there's a lot of money at play, especially when things blow up. When you got 94 million views of a song on YouTube and the record goes platinum and shit like that, there's a lot of money floating around there. So, it gets real serious at that point, that's when you gotta separate the business from the friendship, unfortunately.
Yeah. But most people don't see that though at the time though. Like they make it's all about decisions you make when you're in that too that can benefit you in the long run.
Right, but that's the problem because when you do things from a friendship perspective, it kind of blinds your business sense because you're just doing shit as friends like you used to do.
Yeah.
But you're not even fully conscious of like your decisions and like how much money is at stake here. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's when shit gets complicated. But all in all, it was great. We got to see the world. We did some really big shit, and it was fun while it lasted.
And I love the humbleness, too, because anybody else that would have been on records of Carmen, Black Thought, Joel Santana would be hella cocky, and you're a very humble individual.
Nah, it's just in my nature. Like, I mean, none of us are cocky. Like, it's just, I mean, I feel the same way as you do listening to it. I'm like, I can't believe, like, I'm on a record with Carmen. Like, that's crazy to me, And,
like, hell of a record, too.
Huh?
That's one hell of a record, too.
Yeah, like, I did a lot of records with a lot of people. Joel Santana, did a record with RZA. Like, I did a lot of shit. And every time I do it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like, I'm working with these people that I grew up idolizing, So there's no reason for me to get cocky because it's a humbling experience just to be in the room with those dudes,
Yeah, and let alone them acknowledge you for your own skills, too. That must be a crazy feeling.
Yeah, dude, when Jay-Z tells you that you're dope, like, that's a whole different level, dude. That should make your heart skip.
Yeah, that's a fact right there.
Yeah, like, so, just hang out with Jay-Z, just chilling, like, that type of shit is weird to me, dude. I mean, I remember being in dressing room was just me, Mike, Apathy, Jay-Z, Diddy, Styles P, Jermaine Dupri. Like, we're all just in the dressing room just chilling.
That would be a fire collab, or just the names you just said right there. Whew.
Yeah, I know, but like, I just sit there and I just talk, and I'm just like, wow, I can't even believe words are coming out of my mouth right now. I can't even believe I'm in this room right now, you know? a tiny little room with all these people and shit, you know?
And some of them are billionaires now, too.
Right? So, yeah, all those experiences were, like, super cool.
Well, you too. I don't want to take up most of your time. This is a question that I always ask each guest at the end of each episode. It's because I love when artists give very motivational things for people to live on for, because there may be somebody out there who's a huge Styles of Beyond fan or a huge Rio fan that is going through something and may need like reuse advice. So for anybody of your fans out there listening to, would you have any words that you would give them if they're in a dark place trying to see the light?
Yeah, because I was in the same place before. I mean, a lot of people have been in that same place before. I was a bum-ass kid. Like, I was a loser. Like, I had nothing going for me. Like, I'm walking around telling people I'm going to be a rapper. And they're like, oh, you're going to be a white rapper? Okay, good luck with that. And it seemed like the most far-fetched thing on the planet, like I told you at the beginning. And I just kept working at it. And, little by little, you take baby steps until you get to a point when you're like, wow, I'm actually making some progress here. Let me keep going. Once you take the first step, it's just like when I made the album. It was a tall mountain to climb. I took the first step, and then I took the second step, and then it got easier as I went because, I could see the light there at the end of the tunnel there. So that's what I would tell people. Like, I mean, even in your darkest day, like if you just take one step forward, and then take two steps forward, baby steps. Once you see the end of the light, once you see the light at the end of the tunnel, shit gets a lot easier, and then things start lightening up for you. So, I totally understand the mindset of somebody that would be in that position, and I tell people that all the time. Like, I mean, when you talk about the humble thing, I'm just like everybody else, man. Like, we all came from the same damn gutter, and you just got to pull yourself up out of it, dude, and take baby steps. Don't look at the long ball. Look at the short game.
And a lot of people, they don't want to take those baby steps either.
It's scary. Like, the first step is the scariest, I think.
Because that's out of your comfort zone.
I do it every day of my life. I still do it.
Well, see, that's what makes people grow too. Like, it's just all about coming out of your comfort zone just to see like if you can do it or not.
You got to do the things that make you. The stuff that you're scared of is the stuff that you have to do. It seems weird and backwards, but everybody knows. Like Mike will tell you, anybody will tell you, I was the worst guy to get on an airplane. I was scared to death of flying because a 747 airplane crashed in my neighborhood when I was a kid.
Oh wow! And
I saw dead bodies all over the place and everything. So you had to drag me on a plane and like knock me out with drugs and shit. Like I hated. Hate is not even a strong enough word for what I felt getting on airplanes. But, my mom came to me one day. She goes, look, you got these records playing on the radio. You're doing this, that, and the other thing. And you got the opportunity to change your life. If you don't get on this goddamn plane right now. So this is actually, this is a Canada thing, too. So I had to go to Toronto from L.A. I had the plane booked and everything. Like, Len was flying me out, that group Len. For a video shoot. And so I had to go to Toronto, and I flaked on it. I was like, I can't do it, because I had to fly by myself. And, like, I hated flying anyways, but I definitely wasn't flying by myself.
Oh, yeah, I can understand. Jeez.
I tried to, like, talk myself into it, and I was like, no, I can do it. But at the last minute, I was like, I can't do it. There's no fucking way I can get on this plane. So my mom had that talk with me. She was like, either you get on this plane, you go take your own money, and you go down to LAX, and you buy a round trip ticket to Toronto right now, or you go get a job at UPS or something, because you're not going to be able to make it in this business if you can't get on a plane. So I went down to LAX and I paid $3,000 out of my own pocket to get a damn ticket to Toronto. And luckily, because I paid $3,000, they bumped me up to first class. But still, I was drinking Molson Ice like I was going out of style. You know, I was drunk as a skunk sitting there in first class, and so it was so funny because I was already in my 20s. Like I was like 22 years old, and the pilot when I get on the plane, I'm sitting in first class, and the pilots, you know, they kind of hang out in the first class area, and the guy comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, is everything all right? You good, man?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just a nervous flyer, man. Like this is crazy for me." And he goes, "Nothing to worry about. When we get up to the cruising altitude, I'll take you in the cockpit and we'll hang out."
Oh,
like nowadays this would never happen. But like back then, and I was so drunk too. The guy, so I was passed out in my seat, and the stewardess comes and past me and she goes, "Hey, the pilot wants to see you." So I get up and I stumble my ass into the cockpit, and there's like 4 dudes in there and shit. And we're just sitting there for like an hour and a half, just shooting the shit. They're telling me how to fly. They're showing me stuff here and there. And from that day on, it got a little bit easier. Like it's never great. Like I don't love it, but I fly all the time now. Like it's just the way it is. And what you do is you stop looking at yourself as being the most important person in the world. Because what I started doing was like, so if the plane crashes, what's the big deal? There's other people on this plane too. Why am I acting like I'm the only person that matters? That if this plane crashes, I die. So once I got over myself, in a sense, and realized that, you know, we're all the same, and like I'm an ant on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So once I did that, I was like, whatever happens, happens. So what? You know, and it started making flying easier. But my point is, you got to do the things that you're scared of, because in the end, it makes you better. You know, essentially.
It truly does.
And that goes for all aspects of life. You know, and that's just my opinion. That's the way I look at things.
And that's a good way of looking at things too. Hopefully, like somebody else out there can like take that into perspective and just like, wow, he was afraid of flying and he did all that. All right, I could do something. And it's like what you said, not making. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a small example. The flying is a small example. It's making music was tough, you know, because of the, you know, being white and all that kind of shit, and really trying to break through. There's tons of things that happened in my life where I had to take that first step, and I didn't want to because I was scared to do it, but it ended up working out in the long run. So when I say that, you know, I'm not just, you know, spewing like empty rhetoric. I'm saying, like, truly, if you take that first step, it'll work. You know, at least you won't be where you were.
Yeah.
You'll be 1 or 2 steps ahead.
It's all about coming out of your comfort zone too, and baby, taking that first step. You gotta take that first step, people.
Yep.
But with that being said, I think this is a perfect way to end this classic interview. I grew up listening to Styles. Styles Beyond and Fort Minor, and then I never would have thought this would happen after all these years. So I just want to say I really humbly want to thank you with the bottom of my heart, really, for doing this interview, my guy.
Hey, man, no problem at all, my brother, dude. Anytime you need anything from me, just let me know. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, first of all, and also, you know, doing your homework and all the stuff you talked about is great, man. Like, it was a great interview. Like, usually interviews are pretty boring, pretty generic questions, but yeah, you had your stuff down, man. I appreciate it.
I'm a big fan, that's why, sir. So I appreciate you saying that, sir. Is there anything that you would like to plug in before I let you go, will you?
Oh, that's it, man. You know, if anybody needs to see what I've been up to, go check out Thanks for the Memories. I'm sure if you're a fan of Styles Beyond or Fort Minor, probably like a couple joints off that, if not the whole thing. Proud of that record. And then, and that's it, man. I'll be around. Like, you'll hear me here and there. I got things cooking.
And you know when he's going to release something, it's going to be very heartfelt and meaningful.
Yep.
And with that being said, another classic interview from the Desk Low featuring my guy Ryu.